We are live!
Welcome to the Uncle Jimmy and Cousin Donnie show, sponsored by the Beacon Tap and Cedar Transportation Group. Cousin Donnie, how you doing, my man?
Jimmy, good to see you as always, my man. I'm doing great over here. Been a
It's
busy
been a
week.
minute, dude. It felt like it's been like months since
I
we
know.
ran our show, but it's only been 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Our previous guest was my guy Wild Billy Pearson. I was with him Monday. We played some softball Monday at Rosemont, and we saw some other guys. But yeah, it feels like it's been a while. And then I have a weekend full of you this weekend, which is great.
So, since your Uncle Jimmy has been a good boy lately, I'm on to drinking Good Boys.
What is that? Is that a new sponsor for the show?
I wish John Daly would sponsor us. It'd be incredible.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Good Boys are very tasty for those out there that haven't had one.
I know that there's a poster of John Daly in your bar.
There
a
is.
Big cutout of him.
Yes, there is. He is our hillbilly idol, as I call him.
Hillbilly idol. He is a hillbilly idol. He's an icon for sure. But yeah, good to be on the show, Jim. And our guest tonight is someone special to me for sure, and a guy that's been around softball for a long time, and a guy that I see multiple times a week.
Yeah,
talk to him multiple times a week. So that's my guy. So happy to have him on the show. And how's everything on your end? How's the bar doing?
Things are going well. I think the bar is continuing to get busier and busier week over week. Which is always a good thing. People are liking the food and obviously the vibe and a lot of the live music we have going on. But besides that, we have a ton of things to talk about in the softball world.
Yep.
So we have Staples tournament that was sent over to you. Why don't you go ahead and read a little bit about Staples, because Staples has been MI lately.
Go ahead. If you have that in front of you, read it. I'll try to pull it up on the computer, but it's on my phone, and okay. I'm using the phone.
I actually have Staples here. So it is the save the date. It is April 19th. It's going to be the spring fling at the Newcastle Park that he always does in the beginning of the year. Last year we froze our ass off out there and we yelled at Dave for a good hour.
Yeah, it was cool.
But overall, I think it's going to be a men's 16 softball tournament. I believe he had 11 or 12 teams last year. It's the field that's under the power lines, but it's really a cool thing, It's really a cool little tournament and a cool little field. So he is having an open roster, and he's going to have 12 teams in that tournament one day.
Nice.
And then I know I also sent you, and we have some big news that we want to announce. We are going to be helping a friend of mine. We're the Uncle Jimmy and Cousin Donnie show is going to be running a tournament up in Wisconsin Dells at Delton Oaks May 3rd. Obviously it's going to be a co-ed tournament. We believe we're going to probably play 14-inch because I know a lot of the girls like 14-inch. It's a little easier for them to hit the ball. It's basically you're going to get a round robin. You're guaranteed 3 games. The tournament, Clem Greco, as you're well aware, he's going to be giving rooms away for $99 on the lodge side, and the lake side's $149. He's also going to have taco trucks out there and jumping jacks for the fields and stuff like that for the kids. So so that's going to be the tournament May 3rd, which is a Saturday up in Wisconsin Dells. So for those that want to drive down, it's going to be Well, for most people from Chicago, it's about a 3-hour ride. And then I know the Iowa usually rides up as well for his tournaments. So, he's looking to get 8 to 12 teams, somewhere in there would be fantastic. And I think it'd be really cool to have a little co-ed team or a co-ed tournament to start the year off in Wisconsin Dells for him. He usually runs like his Taco Fest.
Yeah.
And the Taco Fest is something that he does as well. So I don't know if he's going to be running it the same weekend. I believe that everyone's there. I'll get details on that. And then he also is going to run his end of the year tournament as well, which is September 20th.
That's a fun one too. That's a good time. We go play in that every year. That's a good tournament.
Right. Yeah. And it's a good time. And he's going to be doing the same, very similar things that weekend as well for the male tournament. More to come on that. We have all summer to talk about that, but let's try to get out there for the May 3rd. He will use the Friday night, depending on how many teams he gets, of course. But it will be co-ed and it will be 14-inch. So I wanted to get that out there as quickly as possible because the week before that is the Maddie Dozen tournament. I don't know where Maddie's having it this year. He usually has it in Tinley, but he hasn't announced the site. So
yeah, maybe if he's watching, I know he watches the show from time to time. He can chime in and let us know where he's using that, what fields he's using for that tournament. That's a good one to kind of start the year. We played in that last year. We had a comment come in from Jake McTeague. He said, Jimmy, would you say that Josh Szymanski is the John Daly of 16-inch softball?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say to that level, but yeah, that's a pretty good comparison. He does like his tees. He does like his tees.
Yeah,
his twisted tees. He does like them, especially this summer. That's a very good call on Jake there.
He does have the facial hair as well. Josh rocks the big old beard. I know it's blonde, but Josh is rocking the red beard all the time. It looks great.
Yeah, that's a good call on Jake. So
that's great. Big Mick is watching. Steve John said, I'm looking thinner. Fiance's got me on a program. That's right. We got to look good in those engagement photos. Big Mick did say.
She doesn't have you on a program. She has you in a cage.
On a leash. Correct.
And, she lets you out once in a while for you to answer the phone.
That's right.
Right?
Good, I got to keep her happy.
That woman.
Got to keep her happy because then I can play softball once or twice a week.
Right.
Hiawatha Park, he said, for Maddie Donovan, Maddie Dozen's tournament.
Hiawatha Park.
That's what Big Mickey said in the chat there.
Wow. Okay. I believe that's up north, isn't it?
That's way different than Tinley. Much different area. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'll be out for that one.
It's not too far.
No, it's not bad. So before we bring on our guests, I want to say hi to PJ Rains, David Ped, Joe Nixon. Obviously, we mentioned Jake. Our boy Stephen John's on. I haven't heard from Stephen John. He hasn't made any ridiculous comments in a while, so I'm glad to see he's back, our guy. Mickey Balestri, as you just mentioned. Steph McLaren. Throw a shout-out to Steph. Steph was a big supporter of the Dana Strong tournament last year. I know we mentioned him before, but he also runs a tournament for a fundraiser up in the Schaumburg area as well. So want to throw off a shout out for Steph. He's a great dude. Our boy Wags, as we call him, Kickstand. Welcome to the show. Our boy Chris, our boy Bruce Lee out there selling cars, slinging cars. Yeah, he's not slinging tickets anymore. He's slinging cards now.
He's slinging automobiles now.
Yeah, and then our boy Sammy Howard. So we're up to about 57 live right now, but only so many jumping into the ticket here. So I don't know how many's up on YouTube, but I do see.
Take a look.
But we're about 57 total between all the sites right now, and the number's creeping up. So, are you ready to bring on our boy Jeff? Because
I want to know really quick, Bruce, how many cars we sell so far in February? What do we got? I know we were giving away promotions if the Eagles won on our channel. We got about 10 people watching on YouTube as well, so add that to the running total, Jim. How many cars we sling so far in the month of February? Bruce, I see you post on Facebook. You're doing a great job. So David Pad said Staples in the house.
Yeah. Staples, baby.
We made him famous.
Yeah, Staples, he is a famous guy. I mean, people are out looking for staple pitchers, that's for sure. Yeah. So we are running out of staple pitchers. Hopefully when the season starts, we're going to get we're going to get some serious pictures of Mr. Staples.
Oh
He
yeah,
said 10 days of work and 8 cars.
That's efficiency right there. My
Attaboy,
God.
Bruce.
Bruce, that's awesome.
So tonight's guest, our boy Beethoven, I think is going to be classic tonight. I think, Jeff and I go way back. We have a good relationship. He picks on me, I pick on him. That's the way it works. But that's the way it's how makes this game fun. We've never had any issues. I know you love him to death, right? So
My God, it's my guy.
You know one of my questions tonight, right?
I can imagine. I can imagine.
Okay, just want to make sure. So I've got some good questions in the arsenal for my boy Jeff tonight.
I'm sure you're ready to fire him off. Let's get Jeff on here.
All right, let's go get him. I think he's in the green room. Hopefully he's not sleeping. It's past his bedtime. There he is.
Jeff's a late bloomer, Jim. He's always awake.
It depends. I don't know. Listening to you guys, I was kind of like the chair was over.
Attaboy. It's all right. So he comes right on and insults us. I love it, Donnie.
Sure.
Great. So Jeff, welcome to the Uncle Jimmy Cousin Donnie show.
Thank you.
Sponsored by the Beacon Tap and Signature Transportation Group now. So wanted to say, first off, thank you for coming on tonight. But also, second off, why don't you tell everybody who you are, what you've done in softball, kind of how you gotten started in the game. Give a little background on yourself. So, we have a lot of 12-inch guys that watch the show. We have a lot of guys that maybe don't play at the major level that might not know who you are that watch the show as well. So give us a little background on yourself.
If I start from the beginning, we might take up 2 hours. But, I started playing, this game it's special. My dad, my uncles, my godfather, they all played the game back in the day. That's when I started, I went out and would watch them play. Actually, when I was a kid, I didn't do a lot of watching then, you'd be running around the park, but still, you went out and that's what you did. The family got together, and after they played, we went and had pizza and whatnot. And, we had a good time with it. But when I started playing, it was 1974. So it was a little, our parish school had an intramural program. And that's when I first started playing. And we also had a league. It was CYO League back then, the Catholic Youth Organization. And one of the guys that ran that is his uncle, actually. We all know Chris Rieger.
Oh,
so, yeah.
Jack Jennings. And, I grew up with a couple of Rieger's uncles, the Jennings and his aunt. So, we were all in the same neighborhood. But Jack ran a league for us, CYO, and it was great. That's how we all started playing. And I remember the first time we played, and we had to be young back to, freshmen, sophomores in high school. And we made it to the championship, and it was at Dillon Stadium up there on Devon, so it was really, it was nice. We did a lot of cool stuff back then. As far as, moving on through high school, we played in, a lot of people don't know about me. I'm really a North Side guy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I grew up on Irving and Addison in that area, Irving, Addison, California. Went to St. Benedict's High School. So I'm a North Side guy. We played at, intramurals was at Horner Park. It was a great time. And then, I played in 18 and under when I was in high school, and, I went to St. Benedict's, like I said, and we ended up winning a tournament. It was at Paul Revere Park. So very familiar with a lot of the North Side parks. And
yeah.
And back then I didn't play
here.
I just played, we just played in the parks. I played at Mather Park, Boat Park when I moved to the south side, Elsip. So I did a lot of, just park stuff. I didn't really get into softball until probably around the 90s.
Right.
But, as far as playing in the parks, that, you understand why some of the kids really like playing in the parks, because it's a good time. You get to have your families around, and you sit around afterwards, and not all this pressure on you all the time. So you understand where that goes. The other thing back then is my dad played in a league where it was a corporation league teams. So all the guys in the team were my uncle. whatnot. You know, cool. But you know, as you go on, you like I said, I played a lot of park ball. To get into the big time ball, it was, you know, in the 90s. You know, I worked for UPS for 30 something years. So, you know, I was in management. When you're in management, you go where they tell you to go. You work the night shift, whatever they tell you. You don't have a choice. Me and one of my buddies, we were working nights, but I had a team in LSIP Sundays. And he played with the Peppers and the Aces back in the day.
Yep.
And I'm looking for a team to play on because I'm used to playing all of it. And he knew I had a Sunday team. So he came out to play with us. His name was Bill Lang, and a lot of the older guys will know him as Rookie.
Okay.
Played with Wallace, so he played with Tony Serinovich's dad and Martin. Yeah. Billy was a hell of a player. Like I said, he played with the Peppers, the Aces. So he comes out for playing on Sunday, and he's like, "What are you doing playing in the park?" What do you mean? He goes, "There's other softball than just playing in the park." He said, "You got really nice young players here."
Yeah.
That's how I really got into moving up to the next level, was through Billy. And you know, Billy ended up bringing some other guys with him from the Peppers. He brought the Ploger brothers. You might even know Brian Collins, BC. He played with the Jinx for a while. I think you know who BC is, Jimmy.
Yep.
You
before
know,
Donnie was born.
Oh yeah, this is way before Donnie was. You know, and you know, and then somebody young. Yeah. So one of the kids was named Oclantis, and he went to De La Salle. Well, at that time, you know, I didn't know much about it, but so who does Pete say? Pete said, "Yeah, if we're going to do that, I got a couple buddies." He brings out, who's he bring out? Tony Serinovich.
Okay.
John Hickey, you know, Kevin Hickey.
Yeah.
His cousin, Johnny Hickey. And then to top it off, he brings out a guy by the name of Hooper. So Dan Houlihan, you know,
Yeah.
back in the day with me. And you know, that's how we started rolling into, you know, we got into the bigger tournaments and whatnot. And that's where it all started for me with those guys. We had a team by the name of actually, it was the Slugs, SLUGS, man. And we had a great time, but it was a great time. You know, we really got along really well. And, you know, that's what it's all about. When you find a team where everybody gets along well, you know you're on the right path. And that team was, so we took that team and we played in Worth Park, Worth at Peak Park there, you know, where Ronnie Woodward has his annual charity tournament for his. That's where we played. There were good teams out there. You had guys, the Capper, Hot Shot, Dan Smile team. I forget what it was. I think it was Destroyers or something. It was a really nice league. And the way that league was run, so the first half of the year, we'd play without gloves. Second half, we'd play with gloves. Because what is all your here? The state tournament, the nationals were all with gloves. And then we played with gloves. So it was really, you know, and that's how I really got my start, was with that team. And then through the years, obviously, you know, some of the guys and, you know, where I went at, and I don't want to, you know, start naming off because I'll miss some guys. And I know that.
Well, we had a question.
Really well. And one of my best friends, you know, Kevin Casey and Kevin Cusick, Billy Strelo, and I could go Weeze, and I could go on and on with all those guys.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
some are on a rapid fire list tonight, so let's not get into those names.
Yeah, don't give it away.
They've all played for me, and you know, then I couldn't always run a team because I was working on goofy hours, so I had to be with somebody else that could run a team with me, you know, and that's where the Johnny Dentons, who I love to death, comes in. Donnie Kustok, there's a name from the past that, you know, Peterson. I actually tell a story about Harry and I, you know, we're both inducted into the NSA Hall of Fame, which is the Les Duncan.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we started the Lugnuts way back, and we actually had a team that played in Whiting, Indiana, like with Hillbilly, the Jensens. We actually went to Whiting, Indiana and played.
It's funny. I saw Jimmy Jensen on Saturday night. First time I've seen him in probably 10 years.
Wow.
Small world. He looked great. He was with his new girlfriend or whatever you want to call her, and he said his kids are good, and everything was he looked great. He looked the same, honestly. He looked exactly the same. So, yeah.
And then, and then I hooked up with a guy by the name of Bob Belzano for a few years, with the March thing, and I Bobby to death. He's, one of my good friends, and we talk all the time about softball, and there's a couple of guys there that I, got to know really well. Billy Walsh, who,
the
one that led me to Spencer. So
thank God for him. Thank God for that guy.
Billy's a great dude. Steve Heinel. I don't know if you know Steve Heinel, and Billy basically saved Steve's life in Cedar Rapids one year because Steve had a heart attack on the field.
On the field, yes, I remember that.
Yeah, he had a heart attack right on the field. You remember the fields were at the one park where the tracks came across, so the ambulance couldn't get across. They were stuck.
He froze up right there.
Yep, he froze up. So we're build a bad connection on his end. Let's see if we can.
Go ahead, knock him off really quick, and then that's a good story.
He'll have to hop back on. Yeah, but what I was wanting to get with him, I remember that we were actually playing the major national, and we got the call that he passed out or had a heart attack on the field, and he ended up obviously living, and everything was okay. I don't remember. That had to be probably 10, 15 years ago now. It's crazy how fast time flies. So, but I wanted to get to this question from Jeff.
It's a good question. Yeah, we'll get there. Jeff will hop back on here in just a sec. But Jeff's been around the game a long time. He could have probably went on and on about that, but getting more into the now is where we wanted to get with that. But yeah,
Right.
we'll get him back on here in just a sec. Let me shoot him a quick message.
Yep. So while we wait for him, I think why don't we talk a little bit about the Iowa Hall of Fame this weekend? It's going to be a Saturday event. You and I are leaving Saturday morning to go do our little red carpet, have some fun type moment. And we're going to be live on Saturday. So we have special outfits, which is going to be pretty cool. So I'm looking forward to the day. I think it's going to be a ton of fun. And I'm just happy that Jake and those guys let us be a part, right, of the day. And I think
it'll be really cool.
It's going to be fun. And I think we're going to make it fun too. And we're going to bring some joy to the event. And we'll see how it goes, right? So did you talk to Jeff? Did you find out from him? Maybe his phone died?
I just sent him a message quick on Facebook. I just kind of said, hop back into the link.
So that event on Saturday, I believe, starts at they have cocktail hour, the first 5 o'clock to 7 or whatever it is, 6:30. Then they're gonna have the dinner, the ceremonies, and all that stuff. And I believe the after party's at Old Timers. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, so I think it's gonna be pretty cool. So
let me hop off here for a sec. I'm gonna text him.
All right, go ahead. So, Steve, I'm going to go ahead to the fans really quick while Donnie gets Jeff back on. I want to say hello to Mike Vega, Nick Dre, Steve Rodriguez. Hey, Steve, what's up, buddy? I know we were talking today a little bit. Chris, what's going on? Matt Radley, Michelle Greco, hello. Michelle, you just missed it. We were just talking about your resort. Johnny Ryan, what's up, Johnny? How are you, buddy? Hopefully we see you out there this summer. Joe Nixon, Stephen John, and Nick Casano. So, looks like Beethoven is back. Let me get him back on. What's up, Jeff? Are you better now?
Yeah. I don't know what happened there. But anyhow, I'm back.
I hear you.
So,
all right, very cool. I know Donnie, he hopped off to go find you. And now that you're back, now I lost Donnie. So here's Donnie back now. So here we go.
All right. So
there's Donnie.
So anyhow, ended up he had a heart in the field. And I mean, there was nurses in the park and everything. So some of my Billy and Bobby, good buddies of mine. So those years with Mark we're good with those guys.
So we got some
Jeff, while you were
questions.
gone,
Donnie,
we got
why
a
don't you get to
question.
the questions that are coming
Yes.
in from the chat for Jeff really
Yeah.
quick?
We had Jeff, are you related to a Jack Bataoel that worked for the city? Someone asked. Jeff Cruz asked. There you
Work for
go.
the sanitary department.
There you go. Wonderful. And then Frank Simon says, Jimmy, what's in that red cup? I think it's a good boy, if I'm not mistaken. There you go. So Frank answered that. A seltzer. Bruce Lee says not Miller Lite. Jeff, glad you're able to jump back on here with us.
Really quick, before we get back to
and
Jeff, we had a question from Steve. Steve's asking about the 12-inch teams that are coming to Joliet. So there's a chance we can get up to 4 teams. I have another kind of check-in with some teams next week that I've been in contact with. But as of right now, it looks like it's going to be for sure Roofex, a mixture of those guys. And then also Rismondo's coming back to defend their championship. So Rismondo and Roofex are 100%, I believe, in. Of course, obviously injuries, and all that type of stuff, making sure they have enough bodies throughout the year. But as of now, that's both on their schedules. And then there's a couple other teams that are kicking the idea around. One's leaning more towards coming than not, is what I'm being told. So I will, Donnie will release that as kind of the year goes on, what it looks like. But I'll be checking in with a lot of them. And Donnie, I believe you're on that big group chat that we're on with all the 12-inch teams as well. So.
Yeah. It sounds like we've got the 2 pretty much penciled in. And those are the 2 pretty much top teams in the game as well. So awesome to see Rismondo going to come back and defend their title, and then to see Roofex as well, which gives Rismondo a hell of a fight in the 12-inch world. So that'll be fun to watch those guys.
I think the Psychopaths are going to come this year, and I also think that Faux Show is going to come. I have a good feeling that they're going to come this year. So I will obviously we're going to see them down in Yuma. So when I'm down in Yuma, we're going to do a lot of recruiting down there as well to get them to come up for major nationals. So, but back to you, Jeff. Let's get on back to you, Donnie. Why don't you get to your first question?
Yeah, no, I was just gonna Taylor. I know you're going to talk about some of the earlier days in the game with when I was coming around. You were with Impact. When I was still watching softball, not playing yet. That was a darn good team that you guys had. That was a good roster, and someone that has been commenting a little bit is Bruce Lee has been commenting, since you hopped on.
One of the best.
But yeah, absolutely, he is the best. Talk about that team a little bit. And I know there's a few guys. You got the Menizzies still on your side. Talk about that team a little bit and kind of how that went.
The Impact team, I knew Stan for years and years, and he would help me out on my other teams. And finally, it came to the point where we say, hey, let's do something together. So we finally did. We brought some of the guys from my Mutiny team, and then he had his normal Impact guys, Keith Bourne, Kenny Gulo, and that's when I had Billy and Ross, and we combined teams. That first year, we struggled a little bit. And then the next year is when, we got Danny Villarreal, Bruce Lee, Jason Rojas. We got a few of those guys. We didn't know how it was going to go. Anthony Avila came over from the 45s. And we put together a nice little squad. And then the following year, I believe, and you had Noach and Angelo. And then the following year, Noach went and got the Menizzies and Scar. And we just kept building it from there. And that team, that was a pretty good team. That we played well together, and we did everything together. I mean, when we were in a park, we sat together. There was nobody coming in between us, and hey, this guy's going to go to that team next year, because we were all in one group. You couldn't do that. You couldn't siphon us off. So that team, like I said earlier, that team chemistry and camaraderie, it goes a long way in this game, not just the talent, but that team also had a hell of a lot of talent, played well together, and Stan, one of the, best guys I know. He was a hell of a guy, and, never say a bad word about Stanley. He took care of us and took care of me, and, great guy. And it was probably the longest I've been with one team that I've ever been with was that team there. I was with Impact for almost 8 years, I believe it was, and Signature, halfway there, but that Impact team, and back in the day, Brucey, since he's listening, Bruce had hit a ground ball to shortstop and beat it out. Big Bruce could move, even for moving down that line. He hit 2 for us for most of
Really?
the game.
Wow.
Brucey could motor, man.
Well, was there a Bud Light on first?
What's
Was there a Bud Light on first base?
that? A sandwich or something, but no, Bruce, and Brucey always had everybody's back and still does. So, one of the greatest guys in, around the game of softball.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
all I can say. He always took care of you outside the game and everything else, and he still does. Obviously, good luck to new endeavor with selling cars, and I'm sure he's gonna be really good at it.
Yep, for sure. I agree.
Killing it.
I agree 100%. He's going to be definitely. He's just a pure salesman and a good dude. So people will see right through him and help him out the best they can. So,
And
Don,
that team that kind of moved us into the Signature too, because everybody last year we really redid the team, and everybody's like, oh, they're going to be struggling, they're going to do, but everybody forgot that most of these guys have played together. They played together on Impact, most of them. So it took us a little bit, but I think
that was my question. So my question was, I want to talk a little bit about the Signature team. A couple questions about the Signature team that I have. One about the guy to your left, and but before we get to those questions,
he'll only get more than 2 at bats, Jimmy, when he faces you.
Okay, that works.
As long as you're pitching, buddy.
So what do you love? You mentioned camaraderie and some friendships and things like that about the Signature team, but what do you love about this Signature team compared to kind of what some of the other teams that you've run in the past?
It is that camaraderie. It's that family. It's that, people make fun of, when they post stuff on Facebook and when the guys are out lifting and working out together. But that's a big deal in this game. As well as having talent, but these guys just, there's less drama. And that's this part. Very little drama going on. And that guy that helps run the team and runs the teams, and the drama is so big in this game. There are so many egos. There are so many, including coaches, including myself and everybody, we all have egos, man. So when you can put all aside and limit the drama, it makes it special.
Yep.
So
So with the Signature team, we talked about. I mentioned last week's show. Obviously, you were listening. Donnie, about getting Donnie more at bats. We've been working with his swing in the off season. Beethoven. I think the best part about this is that we got to get my guy more at bats, right? So he has a bet this year, okay, between him and I.
Uh-oh.
I want to see him get 50 at bats this year in the tournament. Okay?
In a tournament?
In a tournament series
in one
over the course of the summer.
Yeah.
Let's get my guy 50 at bats, all right?
Well, obviously Donnie performs, and it goes with anybody on this team, and we all know that. If you perform, you get your at bats and you play.
Or do I have to talk to the Weasel?
I still get phone calls. Hey, how come this guy's playing and I'm not? How come this? Here.
Yeah.
Sal and I talk about it, and if they perform, we're gonna play. We're that's the level you're at now.
Right.
Yeah.
You're right.
And that's the way. Back in the day, man, you showed up to the park and you're like, well, hey, I got, why aren't I playing? You think Rich Melman and them guys told you, oh, yeah, hey, it's okay. Patted you on the back and said, don't worry now. They told you, here, turn your shit and get out, man. I'll tell you when you're going to go in the game and what you're going to do.
Yeah. That's that. You're 100% right. That's how it used to be. But unfortunately, we play in the soft era now. That's what I call it, the soft era of 16-inch softball. But you know what I like about the soft era is we have a lot of comedians and a lot of good character guys, I feel. Not that we didn't have that 15 years ago, but I feel like now there's still some rivalries in the game. When we play you guys or vice versa, I know you guys want to beat me as much as I want to beat you. And but off the field, it's different, right? But at the same time, when we're on the field, me and the Weasel are always screaming at each other. We have, you know, uh, just everyone. Donnie and I. Donnie won't speak to me.
Last time it was you
I can't.
yelling at
I'm not
each
allowed.
other, and when I kept calling you Mr. Whiplash.
Yeah, Whiplash. Right. I got a big car accident. You're making fun of me, Whiplash.
So we're gonna take some of that office staff.
I get in a car accident and you're calling me Whiplash.
Oh, that's not why I was calling you Whiplash. You missed it. It went right over your head, dude.
Oh, I know.
Right over the mop you got up there.
It's it's looking pretty good, man. Happy haircut, Uncle Jimmy. Beethoven, you wish you had hair like this, my man.
You know what, dude? I can show you a picture when I did have hair like that. Not anymore, though, man.
Attaboy. So,
Whiplash.
Donnie, let's get to your next question.
Oh, man. Quick story, Jim, really quick before I get to the next question. Jeff did call me one day, and he goes, man, I hope Jimmy doesn't think I'm making fun of him for getting in a car accident, because it's nothing to do with that at all.
I know what it was about.
So I just want to clear the air on Jeff's side. I think it's a neck problem from you looking at home runs.
As balls bounce off my fielders. Yeah, you're right. Whiplash. We'll go with that. I like
that. Jeff, a simple, easy question here for you. Ties to the signature team. Very easy answer. Who's your favorite player on signature, and why? And why is it me?
Besides you?
Yeah, there you go.
You know what? I don't think I have just one, and that's being honest. I love Spencer. I love Markey. I Scar. Scar, Markey, and Matt were with me on Impact. Danny Martson was Impact. I mean, it's hard to say one guy, and it's just you got Q, who does a lot of work behind the scenes that nobody knows about, and it's I love everybody on that team, and even Sal and I. You can't, we get into that you guys don't know about, and we do it behind closed doors, and that's what brothers do, right? And then we play the game,
Yeah.
So but I really can't, Donnie, and I love you, but that's a loaded question, buddy. It's a loaded 15.
It's Spencer. It's Spencer. It's okay. I understand. That was just a question for fun. This is my real question.
Well, I know
for you. We were playing a tournament. 100%. Spencer all the way. Last year, we were playing Midsummer Classic, and we were 3 or 4 games away from the championship game. And you said, it's my wedding anniversary. Jimmy, he was getting yelled at by the wife. And we never stopped winning. We never stopped winning.
I wasn't getting yelled.
And
there was no phone calls involved anymore.
Is it stuff like that? Like what keeps you so attached to the game that you can put, because I saw his phone, it was text message, wife, where are you? What is going on? Where are you? We were just winning games, right? But what draws you to the game like that? I mean, what gets you to the level of love for the game?
You know what? It's the love of the game, number one. Number two, it's just, the commitment. I mean, whether I'm playing or I'm not playing, I made a commitment to 15 other guys that are out there on that. And, I know I made a commitment to my wife, and, we've been together for almost 25 years now, but.
You got all winner.
And I love her to death. And she knows what she got into. Sometimes it's a little irritating, but, Donnie, that's not even the worst story, because the worst story is when we were in Cedar Rapids with my mutiny team. And Jimmy, I don't know who, I think you were playing with Jinx at that time.
Yeah.
So, the wife came to me in the middle of the summer and said, "Hey, we're going to go to Hawaii." I said, "We are." "Oh, excellent. Great. When we going?" "Yeah, you're not going to like this," she says. I said, "Oh, wow, spit it out." And it was Labor Day weekend. So, she had planned a trip with her mom and her aunt and her sister. So I said, "Well, I'll tell you what, you go with those 3 for the first 4 days, and I'll meet you after nationals." And I met her there after nationals. I mean, how many guys do something like that?
What's funny is that my wife gives me shit all the time about that stuff. And
I made a commitment to the guys. And actually, I think Billy and Ross, like, they didn't know about it at first. Strelo and Ross didn't know.
Right.
And knew it was Casey. And we were playing. I want to say we lost to you guys Friday night. We lost to Jinx. We came back, won 2 games. We beat some Iowa team, and then we beat Stovers. And we're playing the Outsiders with Timmy and Chippy.
Yep.
They had all those guys, right? And it's about the 5th inning, and we're just, we were up big. We were, they were done.
Yeah.
And Casey comes up to me and he goes, "Yeah, your nightmare just happened, man. It's just about to happen." And I'm like, "Yeah, dude, I got to be on a plane tomorrow morning." And here we are, we're winning the game.
Yeah.
So I had Strelo, Casey, and Ross come up to me after we won, and they're like, "Dude, get the fuck out of here and get on the plane. You ain't staying, man. We'll take care of it from here." And that's what your friends are for.
Yeah.
And they understood that, and they kicked me out of the park, man. Basically, it's like get home to O'Hare. But
Yeah.
how many guys make that? They make a commitment, and that's what it is. It's all about the commitment to me. Yeah, the love of the game, but it's the commitment, and and I think it needs to be there. That's some of what we're missing now. And again, I understand it's different times, but
Right. So I think now, Donnie, is a good time to get in the rapid fire, and then both of you and I will have a couple questions after rapid fire. So Jeff, I don't know if you ever watch the show. I'm sure you have, because I'm very good looking. But the one thing,
those brows, man.
one thing,
those babies,
with rapid fire, all right, is we mention a name, and we want the first thought that comes to your head. So like when I say a certain name, and then you say, "Yeah, he's a dork," or the first thing that comes to your head. That's what makes rapid fire so good.
You told me to be honest about it.
Yes, and you're not hurting anyone's feelings. So we've been doing this now for well over a year, and I think people love this segment. They love this part of the show. So I'm gonna start with number 10. This is a guy that we made famous on our show, and that's our boy Staples, number 10.
Dave Padilla. Davey, a lot of people make fun of him. Everybody makes fun of him. But the guy really cares about the game of softball. He really wants to do what's right. As a matter of fact, I'll probably sit down with him in a few days, and we're going to talk about his, because you brought it up earlier, his spring fling. And
yep,
I'd like him to try a couple different things, because every year we go out there, we're freezing our asses off. So let's try something different. And, we're out there as teams and wanting to get games. And I think, he's the right guy that could understand that. But, he loves the game. That's the best thing I can say about Dave. He's dedicated to the game, and he loves the game of 16-inch softball. Whether or not with the ASA or whoever it is, he'd probably do better without promoting the ASA the way things are. Just go and run tournaments on his own.
Yep.
But,
Yep. And now that he's famous because of our show,
yeah, you guys are famous.
Staples does mean well. I don't know. I'm the first one to tell him he's a
Everybody yells at him, including me, man. So
yeah, but he means well. So number 9, Kevin Cusack, a guy I played with.
Oh, wow, Kevin Cusack. That's name from the past. All the talent in the world. That kid, but he loved to party. He loved to have fun.
Still does.
And I'm sure he does. But I love Kevin. Kevin's always been a faithful guy, good guy.
Yeah.
He's not one of those guys that'll ignore you when you walk into a park, even when he was, left and went on to bigger teams. He would always make sure he came up and said hello. So a lot of respect for Kevin.
So number 8 is one of your counterparts, the coach, Mark Manizzi.
Mark, I didn't know Mark real well when we were younger, when we were playing against each other, when he was with Jinx. I really got to know him with the Impact and through, his boys. And we knew each other, but we didn't know that,
You thought he was an asshole until you met him.
No, I know there's a few guys I think that way about, but he's not one of them. Mark loves the game of softball, always has. And I'll tell you what, one of the best, and I know you cut the ball, Jimmy. He's one of the best cutters I've ever seen in the game. You knew it was coming, and it didn't matter. He still cut the ball in front of you. It didn't matter. So one of the best cutters in the game, and a solid guy. Talk to him all the time.
He's a hell of a base coach too, I'll tell you. And Jeff will tell you the same thing. Jeff gets mad at him, but I know he always means the best.
We all
but it's
each other from time to time with certain,
So this is number 7 is a guy you guys threw off signature.
Uh-oh.
He's the former coach, Pat Caputo.
I don't know if he threw him off. Patty, another one, loves the game of softball. Was a hell of a pitcher back in the day. You didn't get the ball by him, but Patty loves this game of softball with all his heart. And with that, you got to respect him.
Yeah.
He just, even the way he feels right now, he's still out there trying to put tournaments together. So how you got to respect him for that.
Oh, 100%. So number 6, this is a good name. Our boy, I played for this man for many years on some really good teams. Dave Tenza, number 6.
Dave, nuts. Dave whacked out.
There's nobody like Tenza.
Oh, nobody like David. Nobody. I mean, it's funny because, somebody else will be giving a speech or going nuts, and he'll be like, "Hey, knock it off. What are you doing?" But he's the first one to jump down somebody's throat. But Davey, again, you know what? He loves the game of softball, though. You can't, and it runs in the family with him. Davey is
one of my. I'm gonna say
everybody thinks him and I don't talk, but we do.
Oh yeah, I know you do. So one of my favorite Tenza stories, and I got to tell this story because it's pretty funny. When I think of Tenza, we beat the 45s. We were young kids. We beat them at Forest Park in the No Glove.
As binge, yeah.
As binge, Tenza signs the ball and gives it to Rasha.
Oh, God.
I'm not kidding you. The next time they played us, I think it was a regular season game. They beat the fuck out of us. And we just looked at Tenza. I was like, thank you, you asshole. You know what I mean? But it was that's the Tenza moment, though. You get him one time, and that brick is right in your face,
That is a Dave move, But, yeah, Dave's a character. Let's just put it that way.
Oh, he's a character. There's no doubt about that. So number 5, and I was going to put him a little higher, but number 5 is Kevin Casey.
Kevin's one of my best friends.
Yeah.
Always had my back. Kevin had opportunities in the past to go to other teams, and he never left. And there was years that we had some teams that weren't very good, Jimmy, and he stuck by me, and he's one of my best friends.
So that was number 5, correct? So number 4, we have your other coach, your boy Sal. I call him the Weasel.
Yeah. Sal, you know what? Sal and I get along really well, and you wouldn't think so, but we do. You would think maybe our personalities would clash a little, but they don't. You find out, down the line that, hey, you really think the way I do. We just come about it differently, and that's. But we both want to win. We both want perfection. We just come about it differently. That's all.
I agree with you there because you guys do have totally different personalities, but you always have the same end goal. And I know I never played for either one of you, but I've always been a competitor against you guys. And that's something that I always see on the other side is like, how the hell do those two get along? But then,
yeah, they're very different people. Very
but
different.
at the same time, it works, right? So
sometimes you need that on a team.
Right.
We're both thinking something different, and we react to it differently. And and if there's any problem between the two of us, we always go behind a closed door and discuss it.
Yep. So at this point, Donnie, before I get to the top 3, get to the comments and read some of the questions. I know there's a bunch of people commenting.
Yep. Bruce Lee has been rocking the comments. Says Mark the coach, great gentleman, love him. He's a great human being. Jimmy, did you ever get to play with our coach Mark Menezes, or were you gone? Was he gone from Jinx when you got there?
He was a coach on Jinx when I first started playing.
Okay, gotcha. Dave Padilla said one of the best shows we've had. Right? So that's high praise.
No,
because of you.
Because we put him in the top 10.
Oh, that's a very good point. That's great. Actually, I think about that. We had a good comment from Phil. Big Phil McHugh is in the chat. He's a new member of Signature. He says, Jeff the man. Good to see Phil. Preston, for some reason, decided to rip on me. I don't know why. Says you can't win with Donnie on the mound, which is false and unfortunate that he said that. I haven't seen him in the game of softball for a minute.
Good for Preston. I love him talking shit to you.
Well, for what? I don't get it. I don't understand this guy.
I don't get it either, but pretty funny comment. He was just trying to be funny. Let the man be funny for once, all right?
Not funny.
All right, so
all right,
Jeff, as we get into the top 3, this individual is pretty much, I think, he's almost the running joke of our show in regards to the top 3 for what we do of rapid fire. Okay.
Every episode.
I feel bad, honestly, if I take him out of the top 3. So I just leave that number 3, and that's our boy Gio.
Gio and I don't always see eye to eye. I'll be honest with you. Again, Gio's another.
You know what? For some reason, I do not believe that.
Gio is a guy though that he means well. He loves the game of 16-inch softball. I just wish that sometimes the communication, there's a little gap sometimes, that it's always his way or no way, and I think that bothers the game sometimes. But Gio means well. His streams, I mean, they're right on.
Yep.
Just that, sometimes I think when somebody such as yourself, sometimes, you and I, we go back and forth, and yeah, it's a joke. It's over with. It's done. Move on to the next. Don't take it so personal. I think Gio sometimes takes it too personally.
Yeah.
And again, that's my opinion. It's not speaking for him. That's what I'm saying. I think sometimes he just takes it, too personal, and he needs to let it go. It's a softball. It's softball. Softball. Period.
You thought the T Mudville thing was hysterical. I know that, right?
Yeah.
You thought it was pretty good.
Way to get him riled up.
I got you. It was perfect though. It was great. And that shout out to my boy Mickey.
Oh, and I heard it didn't come from you. It actually came from Mickey, Little Mick, right?
Yeah, Little Mick. Yeah. Shout out to my boy Little Mickey.
Had about 20 beers or what?
No, we were. It was after the whole Iowa situation. We were just coming back from Iowa, and we stopped at the machine shed like we always do. Team off, and we count the people's outs, and we find out who the C was for the weekend. And we were talking about what happened the night before, and Little Mickey's like, "I got a perfect thing we're gonna do for Melrose," and we did it. And honestly, it was all about fun. It was just a funny joke, and we thought, hey, let's do it. So we did it. And now I think.
And then you got sued.
So, what are you gonna do? So, number 2.
Take it personal. If you don't take it personal, it's a part of the game. It's Sam. That's all.
Yeah. So exactly. Mark said I was just the fall guy on the lawsuit.
You're the fall guy.
He wasn't going to sue Donnie. What's he going to end up with? The cherry sit on?
Hey, listen. I wasn't even on the team. I didn't even get invited to play on the team.
Jimmy, is that a sweatshirt, by the way? I got one of those.
Rugrats.
Yeah, I got one of those. That's nice.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah.
That's shout out to my boy Jake for the Rugrats. Yeah, for sure. So, Jake.
My guy, Johnny Denton. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a great shirt. It's our fall ball team in the fall. We play in Oak Lawn. So let's get to number 2. And I know this one's close to your heart. He was a good man, obviously passed away. I had probably a good 10 years of really getting to know him. He was obviously an accountant in Western Springs. I got to see him a lot over there when I worked in Western Springs, and that's Stan. So tell us a little bit about Stan. Stan the man, as I used to call him.
It was heartbreaking for when we found out about Stan, because like I said, Stan took care of everybody. He took care of us. He did a lot of good things for us. He was one of the good guys. So let's just put it that way. He tried to be as honest as he could, and and I love Stan to death. I mean, it still breaks my heart a little bit.
Yeah, he left us a little too soon.
Yes, he did. Way too soon, and people always, he took the game a little bit harder than you thought when we lost. I mean, he always tried to pep the team up, but in the inside, it was hurting him when we lost. So
Right.
he really cared about everybody on the team.
Yeah, and I think he truly cared about the game too, and I think it was definitely something that you saw across not just his own team, but across other teams as well. So
yeah, and it was a big thing with the ASA, obviously.
right.
SSA, but so we would try to play both, SSA and ASA. But like I said, Stan had a big heart for big heart.
Yeah, for sure. So number one, I put this individual number one because I think you got a man crush on him. I I hear stories that if he doesn't show up and someone else plays this position, and if he doesn't catch the ball, it's like, if this person was there, he would have caught the ball and we would have won, right? So, and that boy's name is Spencer Mahoney. Number one, Spencer, your man crush, as everyone talks about in softball. I know Spencer's a great kid. I've got the chance, and I've said this story before you talk about yours. I said this story last year after the Dana Strong. He was the only one in the whole park that stayed with me to pick up every single piece of garbage that everyone left on the street. And he didn't have to do that. He offered to do it, and I didn't ask him. And I thought that just showed who he is as a person. And I thought, from a standpoint of, he had no idea really who I was. He was just kind of getting into the game a little bit a couple years ago. He knew who I was, but we weren't buddies. And then we went to the bar afterwards, and definitely took care of him. And so tell me a little bit about Spencer Mahoney. I mean, is that why you have such a big man crush on him? Because he's such a good person?
Well, let me say this about, I've had a lot of players that have played for me over the years. I've had, like I said, Danny Houlihan, Joey Yaris, Timmy Kornikowski, Kevin Cusick. The list goes on and on with some of the, but Spencer is the first guy that said, "Hey, this is where I want to be, and we're going to build something together." And the loyalty of Spencer, his upbringing, he really is one of those good guys.
Yeah.
It's just, his personality, his upbringing. How can you not love the kid?
Right.
Like I said, that loyalty thing, yeah, people talk about it. And then, guys move on and they win championships. Well, if you would have stayed here, we could have finally won the championship. And Spencer said, "Hey, I'm not going there. I'm with you guys." And he's bringing guys into Signature that he wants and guys that we want to make this, a team that we feel can win a championship.
Right.
And he's just, he called the other night, and it's funny because he calls the other night and just sat down to have dinner with my wife. And he goes, "What are you doing?" I go, "Well, we just sat down to have dinner." He goes, "Oh man, no." And he's on speaker. He goes, "Oh, just call me back. Call me back." I said, "Okay, fine. I'll call you back when I'm done." Yeah, I hang up. And my wife goes, "Why is he not married?" You know what? It was the respect of, "Hey, I'm having supper with my wife." And he's like, "Dude, have supper. Call me later." There's a lot of guys just keep talking, but he's a classy individual, and, kudos to his upbringing.
Yeah. No, yeah. And I know, him losing his dad was a big, obviously, just like anyone, when I lost my father, I know that was something we related on a couple of years ago, or when his dad passed just past year. It was something that we related about because I lost my dad in 2011, and he was like my best friend too. And I can just tell, when you talk to him, it's just he's passionate about what he does, and and personally, he's just a good person. So
He is. He's rock.
And for me to say something good about someone, he must be good. So,
sure.
So, Donnie, that's the end of rapid fire, my man. Let's get to the next question on your side.
Yeah, no, it's just the one thing that we talk about a lot, Jeb. Not only the signature stuff, but outside of signature, playing non-major tournaments and playing in Padilla's tournament and going to Marshalltown and playing in the tournaments that aren't essentially on the SSA schedule, right? Talk about how important those tournaments are and why they're important. If you can harp on, why we put together so much effort to bring in new guys, young kids, what is the number one thing that we do that for?
First of all, you do it so that everybody can just go out there and have fun. No, you're in an intense situation. When you play in Forest Park and you play in Melrose, when you're playing against the guys you're playing against, it's always intense. You don't want to lose. When you go to a random tournament and then you're having a little more fun, you're able to play guys that you don't normally get to play with. And what I try to do, and what we try to do with the Stars and Stripes, is we try to make, get a few of the younger guys involved and come out and play with some of us, our older guys and, our like the Spencers and, and so forth. And Brian Haas and yourself, Donnie, and, Marky Manizzi, and just to have some fun and see what it's like to be around these guys. And that's why I think it's important. See, you get all these, your A guys, especially, you always hear it how, oh, there's major team stealing this guy or that stealing that guy. But they really don't know the major players. They don't bother to get to know them. And I think doing a random tournament, not just loading up with all the best players on every team, but picking up a young kid here or a young kid there and have them come and play with a couple of those major players is going to develop the game.
Yeah, it's funny you said that. Donnie and I did a tournament in December. Was it December or November? December, over in the Dome in the Dome by me in Shorewood, and I thought it was an incredible night because of the fact that we had a lot of major players that played that night, but they also played with some of the A guys and some of the guys that didn't play A ball that kind of really stood out, and they got to meet and play with some of those major players that those guys would never get a chance to play with in their life. And I thought that was, me and Donnie both said, like, that was the really cool part about the night. It really was. And we had some great games. I mean, both games I played were incredible. And there was only,
cool.
10 major players on the field. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool. That's how those kids, not to cut you off, Jeff, that's how those kids start to fall in love with the game, right? They see the level of player that they could eventually try and become. And that's when that passion comes around a little bit more.
And then they get to meet the person. It's not just, hey, we're getting steamrolled by this arrogant and egotistical team out there. Now they're actually playing with the guy and they're learning, what it takes to play at that level. And I think random tournaments are more important than us going and playing in all the big tournaments that are out there.
Yeah.
Back in the day, how many big tournaments did we really have? We had, you had Hawthorne. Okay, Hawthorne was really an A tournament though, but it was an A tournament.
Yeah.
Qualifiers. How many major tournaments for major players were out there? You might have had a Tim Maher put together a tournament. You might have somebody else but you didn't have all these big, you had the Grant Park tournament where they had a major division and division. But I think that's important. I think that's what we're losing it. You have, and again, the SSA does a great job and they're out there busting their ass and trying to get this for us. But what they're losing the picture on are.
You don't have to kiss their ass, Jeff.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying that they care about the game, Jim.
Yeah.
But they're also, in a way, taking back away from the game because, if you're an A team and you come to one of those tournaments, you really think you're going to win.
Yeah.
I mean, I was told back in the day, if you're an A team and your chance of winning a major tournament like that is like, you play real well against the 45s, and then you got to do the same thing against Signature. And hope that Signature doesn't play that well or vice versa.
Well, and I think that's, to your point, I think what Chris Guerin said this, Donnie, maybe about 20 shows ago, and it sticks to my head of what he said. and I think he's right, is every tournament we play in at the major level should be a different format other than
Yeah.
Forest Park and major nationals.
Yep.
And to your point, it would give these A teams an opportunity to play and have a chance to possibly make a deep run in a major tournament because you only got to beat, possibly one major team.
Yep.
Depending on the draw. Or, in every tournament, maybe you do like a Yuma style, or maybe you do like we talked about with the single elimination Thursday, double elimination Friday, Saturday for the Iowa teams, like, because when they come in, or you could do single elimination. I mean, there should be many different formats. And I know we've talked about that, but I think that's kind of where you're going with what you're saying. And that leads me into my next question is, what are some of the things right now in softball that really bother you about the game in regards to whether it be the players, the formats, the tournaments, the leagues? Name something, Jeff, that bothers you about 16 in softball right now.
Commitment, what we talked about earlier. Yeah, is that a thing out there? Yes, but you have to look at the times that we're in right now. Times are different. Okay, so that one can't really bother you as much. What really bothers me is you got, whether it's ASA, SSA, or whatever, they can't get along. How are you doing what's right for the game and running associations, and you can't get along with the next guy? What are you showing everybody?
Yeah.
And you work for, a certain bank. I forget which one you're at. Because I know my boy Chris Malkowski is there too.
Yeah, Mahalski. We work for BMO.
Chris is a good guy. So he grew. He actually played ball with my brother. But you're not going to go and promote Wintrust because you're with them. But
right.
This is a game. It's softball.
Right.
We should be helping promote each other. Paul Rowan, I love Paul to death. I love, what he stands for with the Hall of Fame. But Paul, I believe, my opinion, he should be running tournaments based off the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And base it off of the Hall of Fame. Have games at Forest Park if you can. Do something, and then have some kind of a tour of the Hall of Fame for those teams.
And I'm not picking Hall of Fame, ASA, or SSA side, but there's one person in particular that I know of that is very stubborn about the way he does things. And unfortunately, when that person gets pissed off at somebody, the whole relationship goes south, and there's no making up. There's no.
Absolutely.
Who's that, Jim?
Huh?
And that's what I was saying. Don't take it so personal.
Right.
It's not that we don't think that you're doing a good job or we're trying to hurt your brand.
Well,
we want to the game of 16-inch softball, and we want to make it so that the young kids, not just the kids that are playing in the major leagues and a major tournament,
right,
but the young kids understand this is the game of 16-inch softball.
Right.
And I think we're taking that away by these, and you're asking me what bothers me. That's what bothers me, because you're hurting it to their levels. Yes, sure, you have all these, you have the B tournaments and the A and the C and all these nationals, but it's one association or it's another.
Right.
And then people get pissed off when the others, because now they're copying us and they're doing. Here, is it about the game or is it about the association?
I can say this, at least. They've made a stride in the right direction because they are now not running tournaments on the same weekends. Okay.
Yeah.
Patty Caputo has made his way back into the Hall of Fame in regards to walking in the building.
Yeah.
Okay. They're making strides in the right direction. I would like for them to do it sooner than later before they all die. But at the same time, in general, like it's going in the right direction. And I think, like, when you look at it, it really comes down to one person. If that one individual would just kind of take a step back a little bit and worry just really about what he's doing and not about everything else, I think it would make a difference. It would. And I think people would get along more, because I think there's very loyal people to a certain individual, and they're afraid to really say their opinion because they don't want to get harassed, or they don't want that individual to fight against them either. So like when you look at softball, and it doesn't make him a bad person. It's just saying like that's his opinion. That's the way he wants to do things.
And that's
I
what
just think that we need to all get along. And I think at the same point of when you look at 16-inch and where it's at today, you got to throw your ego out and you got to worry about the game, not about, like Donnie and I running a page. That's not what it's about, right?
No, it's
We
about
run this to promote softball. We've been trying to do this. Our whole point was to get more teams involved in the game. And honestly, if we get 4 teams in our second year of running this show to
Huge.
major regionals, I think that's a huge step. I know that they won't give us any credit. We're not asking for any credit, but I think because of this show, Rismondo showed up last year. I think
100%.
I think that Rufax is going to show up next year. I don't want to take credit for that, but like that's the whole point of us doing what we do. And I think it's because Donnie's a young kid. We get the young side of it. I'm a little bit older on the older side. I get I've been around the game a little longer, and hey, I'm still in my early 40s, right? So I'm not too old yet, but either way, like I think it's good for softball. I really do. And I think we're going to reap the benefit of this maybe 3 and 4 years down the road. So
I just, you brought up Patty as one of the guys, and I just talked to Patty a couple of days ago. So
yeah,
I do talk when we need to talk about stuff, and we're not, it is what it is. When you have 2 guys, sometimes 2 guys don't, like we said, personalities don't always match, and but Patty means well for the game, and I think it shows a lot for Patty to walk into the Hall of Fame. Let me tell you,
yeah.
That's a big thing for him and Paul, and hopefully they can, because Patty's a Hall of Famer. He should be promoting the Hall of Fame as well. So
yeah,
that's what I mean about Paul, not promoting the ASA. Promote it through the Hall of Fame to make it for 16-inch softball.
right.
That's what I'm saying.
So so the Hall of Fame has actually asked us, Donnie, to go on their show. I know Donnie's the busiest 27-year-old kid I've ever met. I mean, that is not busy. So with no kids, one job, and has no idea, but he's the busiest kid I ever met. So
I'm always doing something, Jim. You know that.
So he doesn't know his priorities yet, Jeff. He's got to set those priorities still. But and by the way, that's another thing, Donnie, since we got to get out and do our hot dog review. People have been texting me and calling me, when's the hot dog review coming?
I was saying let's hit a place on the way to Iowa this weekend on Saturday. We should stop at a spot on the way out there.
We might do that. But
and hats off to Chad, by the way, for making the Iowa Hall of Fame. Out there listening. Awesome. He's one of our guys now. And
is he actually going to show up?
And
no, he will not be there. He's going to be in Florida for a 12-inch tournament.
Oh, okay.
He's in Florida right now.
So maybe I'll snag that for him while I'm there because I'll see him soon.
You know what? We'll go up and say his speech for him.
Yeah, that's easy.
Maybe send him a picture with his plaque, Donnie, without your shirt on.
There you go. He'll love it. He always asks me.
No, we're going to take his plaque and we're going to hang it in old timers. That's what we're going to do. So.
But yeah, Jim, if you want to rattle off the last, I got one more quick thing for you. I did a little digging, okay? I asked around about what's one thing that Jeff will remember that's a funny memory, okay? And I asked a friend of ours that's very close to us.
You falling on your face?
No, he said 4 years ago during a Lugnets game. Now, you don't typically blow up on umpires, Jeff, from what I know about you, okay? You may have had a specific blow up at an umpire during a Lugnuts game. He said, you have to bring it up. He'll know what it is right away. You blew up on Oscar after a bad call. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oscar made a bad call? No way.
Poor Oscar. Yeah, I remember it.
Come on, tell me the story. What happened? What was the call? Tell me about it.
Oscar missed. He there was a play at first base, and Oscar called him out, and the first baseman didn't even have the softball; it was laying in the dirt. But because of Oscar's angle, he didn't see it. So, yeah, I lost my. I flipped the lid.
Did you get thrown out?
Yeah, it don't happen a lot anymore. Every now and then. it happened a lot more, let me tell you. But,
Did you get thrown out of that game?
No, he did not throw me out.
All right, because I've never seen you get tossed from a game.
No.
I was curious.
What has thrown me out is the guy at the older guy at Forest Park.
Okay.
Mike?
Yes, I think it's Mike. And,
Yeah, I've been tossed by him a couple times.
I wasn't even like yelling or swearing at him or anything. Johnny Denton might even remember this story because I wasn't even yelling or swearing. I just was asking him, hey, dude, go check the rule. Can you go check the rule book? And he goes, yeah, you're out. I'm like, why? Because I asked you to go check the rule book?
I threw the ball on 290 last year, and he just ended the game.
He ended the game.
He's like, that's enough. Moretti's done. That's enough. The game was over. Third inning.
Because the only other time in the last 4 years that I've blown a gasket was at Nationals with Brad and I forget what the Morris, what's his name, and I blew a gasket, and they didn't throw me out either. It's just because I don't blow my top all the time. I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about that. I umpired a little bit back in the day, and for as much abuse as these guys take, and yeah, they balls. They need to make when there's two umpires, they got to get it right. But it's a tough thing to do. The game is, Lane Senior and I talked a couple days ago about the game is different. It's players are bigger, stronger, faster. The game moves at such a clip. Playing at the major level and playing at as you go up, and it's like any sport. And everything happens so fast that are they going to miss a call here and there? They are, but let's try to most of them right, and and don't go off the one thing I can't stand if an umpire is bitching back at you. Don't do that. Don't instigate it. Just you had your piece, now go away. And that's it.
Yeah.
So, but it's tough to be an umpire. I'll tell you, it is tough. And that was umpiring in a park league, and I'm like,
I don't know what Lane means, not Jimmy, but maybe he's talking about me. Lane just put out there, not Jimmy. I think he means about maybe umpires. I don't know.
Yes, most likely you not arguing with umpires, of course.
Yeah, but here's the thing about umpires, and I'm going to try to do something this year that I haven't done in the last 2 years, and that's not get thrown out of a game. Think I can make it all year, Donnie?
No.
You might want to take that bet, Donnie.
I would happily take that bet, man. I would.
And
I'd probably win that in the first 2 months of the season too.
Take that bet, and then I'll talk to Oscar for you.
Yeah. Oh, we'll see, Donnie. Maybe that might be a steak dinner. We're gonna have a steak dinner this weekend, and it's on me.
Hell yeah! That's awesome.
I owe you one, so.
Thanks, man.
I'm gonna say it. I'm not gonna get thrown out this year.
Chris Miller said no chance. Chris Miller never comments on the show. I never know what he's watching, but he commented to say that you will absolutely get thrown out of a game this year.
Dude, the umpires love me. There's no way they're throwing me out this year.
Over under 2.5. Over under 2.5 times.
All right, so Jeff, let's get to the last question. All right.
Yep.
So it's the question I obviously ask every guest. That question is if you had one thing you wanted to change in softball or something that you wanted to bring new to softball to make it better, what would it be?
Originally I was going to talk about the tournaments, but I don't know if that's something that, because I did talk to Patty a couple of days ago, and something that we have to understand about the tournaments is
they don't want to change. Yeah, I know.
Well, not, the way him and I talked about it, though, it made sense, Jimmy, is, they get the parks for a certain amount of money, and then they promise the park that, hey, you can make it back in this concession or that concession. And in order to shorten the tournaments, then are guys really going to, how many guys are really going to stay out there till midnight or 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock? Now, I understand they do it for Papa Hops. I get it. But,
well, you can't. Here's the thing.
Hops is a different animal, though.
You can't say, but here's the thing. More people will stay on Saturday night than they do now, and those people ain't coming back on Sunday anyways. Okay. So how much money are you really making on a Sunday out there that you're not going to make up for on a Saturday night? More people are going to stay Saturday night than they would Sunday. And you can't say, I'm telling this all the time, do it 2 times in a row. And by the end of the second time, if it doesn't increase, then you could say, we tried it and we move forward.
Well, that I agree with is trying something different.
Yeah, that's all we're asking for.
I'm not saying that they have to do it, but at least let's try it and see the difference and see where people stay. I don't know if they will or they won't. You know, we don't. So you try it. You know,
unless I make it Patty's idea, and I'm going to call him probably tomorrow and bust his balls about it. I'm going to try to make it his idea, and maybe if it's his idea, he gets in Gio's ear. Maybe they'll try something. I don't know, but we'll see. It doesn't make them bad people, right?
No.
But they need to really listen, because I talk to, I'm not kidding you, Jeff. I talk to a lot of the players, a lot. I mean, probably 95%
want to play Sunday. I get it.
They all want to try it. I mean, every one of them. I mean, honestly, one guy that doesn't is Nate now, Mercado. He don't want to, but he, you know, the thing is you got to try it. I mean, when 95% of the game is saying, you know, yes, let's try it. Why haven't we tried it? This is not a thing that's been going on for 3 or 4 years. And honestly, if the park reaps the benefit and makes more money on a Saturday in beer sales than they would on a Sunday, obviously, and they make up for what they make on a Sunday because now Saturday is double what a Saturday would be, I think that it's something that is got to be done. I mean, we just there's no reason not to, right? I mean,
again,
if it doesn't work, there's no reason why you can't go back to it. But you just got to do it 2 times at a major tournament. I called Danny Atkins last year. I told Danny Atkins, end this bitch on Saturday. You got 6 fields out there, end the bitch on Saturday. There's no reason to come back on Sunday. For some reason, he didn't want to do it, you know. And that's the perfect tournament to try it at.
You could try it at that one or the other one that I was going to say, because you Westchester, you really can try it. That's because they don't really have any leagues there that are so whatever they do on Sunday is their own thing.
Yeah.
What I'm saying you could try it at is probably Melrose, because we do play ball there all the time.
Yeah.
So that's the one park you want to try it at. That would be the park to try it at, because, you know, that park, and plus, you know, Joe is basically, Serpico is in charge of here. You know, he keeps the lights on at 1 o'clock. He keeps them on at 1 o'clock. They've done it before with other tournaments there. So I think that would be the one park to even try it in. You know,
yeah, and it's 2 fields, but it's single elimination Thursday, Friday, Saturday, double elimination. Remember, Jeff, we used to do that all the time in the ASA back in the day. It was single elimination to the final 8.
You know,
I thought that was cool. It was a different.
You know,
format.
Forest Park. Do you know Forest Park with no gloves was like that? They had 32 teams the one year, and it was single elimination until Saturday. Yeah. You made Saturday, then you went into a double elimination tournament. So
what's wrong with that?
You know, it can be done, and you know, we could even, you know, Forest Park with the no glove, you know, they can look at it for, you know, again, that's one tournament you don't want to change. But even here, Thursday night, if you lose Thursday night, you're done. You don't come back Saturday morning at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
You lose. You move into Friday, where, you know, you have all the top 8 teams seeded, and, you know, if you don't get seeded, still, you know, if you're that kind of a team, you take Friday.
Yeah, I don't know what Mark is saying here. We probably hurt the case to end the tournament on Saturday after last year. I don't know where he's going. Is there something that happened last year? I don't know where he's going with that comment. Does he mean something about Gio screaming at me at Nationals?
Maybe. We probably hurt the case to end that tournament on Saturday.
I don't know where he's going with it. Maybe he could comment back and see what he means by that. Not too sure.
I think he's talking about Midsummer Classic, because we came back through the losers bracket on Saturday and all of Sunday.
Oh, well, you guys could have did that on Saturday, though. Right? I mean, if you hadn't just played Saturday, you would have went through the losers bracket on Saturday. So
yeah.
But yeah, no. Either way, I agree with you 100%. We've been saying this now for years. So you know, lost on Thursday. Oh, that's what he means. He lost on Thursday. He won 9 in a row. You know, and he's got a good point.
He's right. You know, we did.
Right, but and Thursday, like, but think about this, right? What is the main thing? And just take out softball, all of sports. What is the main thing that draws people to the television? Why is Game 7 so important? Why is it's urgency, right? To watch the teams. Game 7 is awesome because it's a pressure moment. Could you imagine playing Thursday night and it's signature versus the 45s? The loser's out. I mean, could you imagine that game in a tournament? Yes, it would suck for the team that loses, but either way, I think it's only one format. It's only one tournament. And then the next time we play a round robin Yuma style, right? And we do single elimination Sunday or Saturday. Like there's a million things you can do. That's what I mean by change. So I like your comment on that. We've heard that before. Anything else, Jeff, before you we're going to turn it over to you for questions for cousin Donnie and myself.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of questions. I think you guys, yeah, I think getting other teams involved, the 12-inch teams, that's a big deal. You know, we tried last year with the SSA to keep score and all the big tournaments for their little showcase thing and everything. I don't know that, you know, so doing so brought that out a little bit more because they never had that. So it made them some statistics, and I know PJ Range talked about that, and they came through with it. So there's just you when this show brings you know, and maybe even doing this show, and I don't know how it worked with Patty going back in and, you know, get back into the Hall of Fame, but I think it ability a little more, you know, maybe clear people. You know.
So to your point, I have asked, and I'm gonna send the invite again. I want Gio and I want Patty Caputo to come on our show and talk the game of softball. I want that because I think it'll be good for the game, for us to have a civil conversation. Yeah, there's going to be some arguments. That'll be the most watched show in probably
100%.
history of softball.
You'll get more people watching that than like CNN News. That would be prime time programming right there.
But see, I would go on the SSA page because I know Gio wouldn't do it on our page. I would do that, okay? Because it's for the game to make the game better.
That's what I'm, you know, to bend a little bit, and
yeah,
because it's about the game, it's not about the person. It's about
right. So Brian brings up a good comment here. He says, I've never gone to a tourney on a Sunday if I was eliminated before Sunday. But if I lost on Saturday, I did stick around. And
he's
that
lying.
Huh?
Gene, his wife would have him home in under an hour if his team lost.
No, but I think for what he's trying to say is that he's 100% right. I'm not saying everybody's going to stick around on Saturday, but I'm telling you this: if you knew the championship was at 9:00 on a Saturday night and game one started at 9, and you lost at 3, you might go get something to eat, maybe away from the field, or you might stay there the whole time and come back to the field, knowing that the championship's at 9:00. That's just my opinion. I would do that. I think, Donnie, you would do that as a player.
100%. I would watch because that Saturday is already dedicated to it. You've already set that schedule to say, hey, I'm going to be at the field on this day, and we might lose at 4:00. Championship's at 9. I'll be there to watch.
And you know that then that Sunday you're spending it with family.
Correct.
Right? Where you're not going back out there on Sunday if you lose. You know, you're spending it with family. So that's the difference that I always say to these guys. And they're like, no, bullshit. When you lose on Saturday at 10:00, you're gone. I don't think so. I really don't. Because
midsummer on Saturday, Donnie, I wouldn't have gotten in trouble for my anniversary.
You wouldn't have slept on the couch.
Yeah.
So, you know. But,
yeah.
And back to your question. That's the only thing I'm going to do. When you ask me one of my favorite player.
Yeah.
And the one guy that, you know, I've been thinking about it for, you know, and I'll be honest with you, maybe it's Greg Fleming.
Man.
Greg is, for him to come over and give it a shot, to come over to Signature completely out of his, his and and to do what he's done and to love this is that means a lot.
Yep, I agree. Greg catches a lot of shit from playing with us. He really does.
I respect him for that. And so
Yep.
if I who really is, I'd say Greg Fleming.
Yep.
When I about it, because he came out of a comfort zone and came to took a chance because he wanted to play with Spencer, Danny, and Markey, and and you got to love Greg.
And here's another thing. I don't mean to switch it off Greg Fleming because I like Greg too, but your favorite player, Jeff, is me. Don't lie. Sam Rogers said that we can make church on Sunday, Jimmy. So Donnie, just so you know, before we leave Iowa, we're going to church on Sunday with our boy Sam Rogers. He saved us a seat.
Is he?
We're gonna go support our guy Sunday.
Are we gonna wear the jumpsuits?
It might be with a Miller Lite in hand, but we're gonna do it. All right.
Sam Rogers, I love it. I'm with it.
So, Jeff, if you don't have any other questions for us, I definitely appreciate you coming on, man. It's been awesome. Great softball talk. I know Donnie was pumped to have you. And quite frankly, I was a little pumped to have you too because I like busting your balls. So, thank you so much. You were awesome, man.
Oh. So,
all right.
Guys having me on. Thank
you. Hey, Jeff, thank you so much.
I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thank you. So, maybe you'll get an extra at bat or two this year. What do you think?
That's all we wanted. That's all we wanted. Just give me a chance.
How about the first question I asked him? Get my guy down to at bats, huh?
I appreciate you. That's nice of you. That's real kind.
Dude, your uncle does a lot for you, and I don't know if you appreciate that.
I do. I promise.
So,
but that was great, and that was a wonderful time with Jeff, and a lot of great comments coming in while he was on, and that last little conversation really did spark some stuff in the comments. So great to see that people believe in that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like there's belief in what you're saying, and I'm kind of a junkie. I'd go out there every day if I could. I don't care. But I have less requirements in my life right now, so I think the vast, great majority of people do have those requirements and those occupations, and I think it would turn a new page in the commitment level if you see everything end on a Saturday.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with you, and we've talked about this obviously a million times, but it hasn't been brought up in a while, and I'm hoping that our word gets heard from the guys that are running tournaments. The SSA only really runs the Melrose and Nationals, right? Forest Park runs Forest Park. Westchester now, I guess the SSA helps them and runs that, right?
Yeah.
But overall, I think softball hopefully is going to become a better place with more teams and more, hopefully, enthusiasm to play some of these tournaments if we do shorten it, right? And it's not the 4-day bullshit and the same format every weekend, So hopefully that changes, and it might not change until I'm done playing the game. But if it does, I think people are going to love that. So.
Yeah, I agree. I would like to see you around for the changes. You won't go anywhere. We all know that.
So.
But yeah.
So one of the things that I think I want to end with is just a little recap, right, for tonight. So.
Is everyone all right back there?
Yeah, I think so. We have the Wisconsin Dells tournament, right?
Yep.
We have the Spring Fling with Dave Padilla. So obviously for those that are just joined late, get back, watch the beginning of the show. We talked about those dates. We talked about the tournaments. The co-ed tournament is going to be a 14-inch tournament, I believe, May 3rd. It'll be a Friday, Saturday up in the Wisconsin Dells area. So we're going to get a flyer out for that and try to promote that. I'm going to get that out to some of the co-ed teams. Hopefully he gets 6 to 8 to 12 teams up there. I think it'll be a great way for them to start the year. I don't believe there's any major softball that weekend, so a lot of the major guys can fly up there too. So, Donnie, outside of that, we do have dueling pianos next Friday night at Papa Magoo's.
Hell yeah.
It's going to be a big night, DJ after dueling pianos. So it'll be a very cool, fun night. So with that being said, man, I will see you soon. My kid's screaming right now. So
I was going to say one more thing to kind of help you out. Battle at the Dome at Papa Magoo's is April 26th. Softball players and fans after the Matty Dozen softball tournament watch Battle at the Dome. So get your tickets for that. There's going to be wrestling. You're really expanding the place, Jim. You're really expanding. I like it.
Yes. We're going to have some wrestling there. Maybe you and I can get in a wrestling match together.
Oh, my God. That would be great. Imagine.
Yeah. So, but, man, I appreciate it.
Yep.
Obviously, great guest tonight with Jeff. And thank you, everyone, for this, obviously commenting and being a part of the show. So thank you so much. Get to our page. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. Uncle Jimmy, Cousin Donnie.